Hello, I'm Gold Porter, and this is the Riveter Consulting YouTube page. What I'd like to discuss today is how to negotiate a salary. First of all, I think first and foremost, what's most important is when you apply for any job, whether it's through an agency or on your own, I would always give a salary range. You never really know what the job details are until you go through the interview process. Even us as recruiters, we're told one thing, and then we find out through the interview process with our candidates, there's a lot more job duties that have been added on, maybe additional children in the home that we didn't know about. So all of these things can push your salary to a higher range. So if you're upfront about it and you talk about it in advance, let's say you're 75,000 to 85, that gives you a lot of room if the role is much more than you thought it was. I also have had this situation come up recently where, there was a job offer put out and the candidate wanted far over the salary range. And that can be a really big turnoff to a candidate when they know of a range up front and it's almost like you dangled a carrot and you gave them something else. So, if you want to put the salary range a little higher just to play it safe, I think that's far smarter than getting a job offer and then asking for something outside your range. The deal almost fell apart because of that. So I would definitely hedge against something like that. Also, understand the importance of likability. You absolutely, I know this sounds basic, but it's also crucial. People will go to fight for you if they really like you. Whether you're dealing with a hiring manager, human resource director, or the director employer themselves, if they really have a connection to you, they're going to negotiate with you more so than somebody they're iffy about. Help them understand why you are making this request. Don't just go in saying, I want this because I'm great. Build your case. What you bring to the table, maybe a previous employee didn't, what you can offer to them, what you would do for an increased salary, perhaps your experience, why you ask for more. Just make it very clear. And make it clear they can also get you. Don't make it clear that if they're going through this negotiation process, you're not going to keep adding things. That if you come to a mutual agreement, that you absolutely will take the role. Nobody wants to spin their wheels. So make sure that's clear. If we can get here, I would love to accept this job. And also understand the person that's across from you. Understand what their needs are, what they're negotiating for, what's important to them. Address that. If the key component for them is that they have coverage on a weekend and you're offering them to come in on a weekend, show that you are supporting them. And then also understand their constraints. If it's a large company and they're making multiple hires at the time, they may not have a lot of flexibility in the salary, but perhaps you can negotiate a signing bonus or a vacation or a different start date. So just understand the negotiating power you have. If it's, a smaller company and you're a direct hire, maybe there is more of a range for the salary increase. What I also tell people is sometimes when you go in at the highest salary, the expectation is so much higher for you. And especially if a client feels like they're paying more than they ever have paid before, they come in almost jaded from the beginning of like, well, I'm paying this much, this is what I should get. So sometimes a safer negotiation is to say, listen, I would really like to get there eventually. In 90 days, can we have a review? And if I have done this, this, and this, can we talk about a higher salary? And I think that makes both people feel safe that one person gets to prove themselves, the other person proves it as well. So, you want it to be mutually beneficial for both parties. And be prepared. If you are going into a negotiation, they may ask you some tough questions. Do you have other offers on the table? What have you made previously? If things come out like this, I would say never lie. Be as honest as possible. I never want anybody to be unethical. Your goal is to answer honestly, and you want to be an attractive candidate. They don't ever want to feel like they're getting the wool pulled over them, that you're not being honest. And also know your audience. I think this is really important. I'll give you another example. My husband is hiring a CMO for his company, and there was a young tech girl, awesome, amazing experience, but she kind of came in a little cocky and, I have multiple offers. And for this company, that's not the right approach. They're kind of down to the earth. They'd rather have somebody that doesn't come off like that, that's just a hard worker. So, you know, if it's a new startup and they like that kind of energy, that could work. But make sure that you know how to play the role to the right employer. And also consider the whole deal, you know, the location, the flexibility in work hours, the opportunity, and the growth. So, you know, maybe you do want a higher salary, but look at the whole picture. You know, maybe they're offering you some things you wouldn't get in another job. So you need to be flexible as well. And then I would also say, don't negotiate to just negotiate. You know, there's people that get out of MBA programs. They just went through a negotiation course and they think this is what you do in a job. This doesn't always work out in your favor. So make sure you think about those things. Make sure it's absolutely what you want to do to get this job, and know that by going through a negotiation process, there is a chance you just will not get the job. And you have to know that going in. As long as you're okay with that, then that's totally fine. But remember that they're not out to get you. You know, everybody wants to feel good in a hire. The tougher the salary negotiations, depending on how many parties are involved in the negotiation and also the offer, it can take a long time. You know, I have clients that have to talk to their attorney, have to talk to this person before a job offer. So be patient, be tolerant, communicate, always be available. I hope that helps.